Alex Garrett.
You know what's crazy? Here on the Alex Garrett Podcast Network? It's been 15 years this September since both Shea Stadium and Yankee Stadium, the old one, shut its doors. Just about a week ago, the Yankees celebrated their 100th year on River Avenue on April the 18th, 2023, when, of course, that's when the old stadium opened 100 years ago, April 18th, 1923. But Shea Stadium also closed its doors in 2008, and for those of you who might be following my Instagram and Twitter, something pretty cool just happened, and the correlation between 15 years since its doors closed and building coming down to now, it's kind of a fitting way to honor the 15th anniversary of the last year of Shea. Because while you can enjoy standing over the plaque that was the patch of the 2008 final season, you can also enjoy the idea of throwing out the first pitch on that Shea Stadium mound, which, when Tom Seaver passed away, I realized the weight of that mound. As a kid, you don't realize it because, hey, you're on the field. You're doing the first pitch thanks to GHI Health. I mean, that was so cool. Back in August 2006. On August 9th, 2006, to be exact. Piazza's comeback game as a Padre. But, to be very real with you, it's hitting me how special that moment was 15 years after Shea closed its doors. And so much so, I didn't expect this to happen, but a company called AthleteLogos, and I have been in contact. Hopefully we'll get Mr. Abrams, the neon guy, right? The guy who recreated the silhouettes of all the neon lights, of the silhouettes outside of Shea Stadium on the exterior, if you will, of Shea. Remember those classic pitcher, catcher, runner, batter? Well, Dan Abrams recreated it. And he's been working on this since 2016. And he wants to be called the Neon Guy. Well, he created, along with AthleteLogos yesterday, recreated that first pitch pose I did on the front of the mound at Citi Field at Shea Stadium. And I now have a neon silhouette to carry with me, to enjoy, and to really feel like an athlete. And you're going to see that silhouette on this podcast art cover, thanks to AthleteLogos, because it means a lot that someone would take the time and take that picture and make a silhouette on one of the most favorite moments as a baseball fan. Throwing out the first pitch at a Major League Baseball park, let alone Shea Stadium. Growing up both in Manhattan and Queens. Growing up, a mix of both teams. And really just immersing myself in the New York baseball world since I was a little kid. This moment, and the affection I had for the Mets at one point, and Shea Stadium, that's what makes it even more special, to be honest. And yes, I love the Yankees, not going to lie there. But there is a part of the heart that wants the Mets to do well, that loved those Met years at Shea Stadium. I mean, as a kid growing up with the Piazza years, those were special. And then the culmination, throwing out that first pitch just 2 years before that hollow ground would close. It hits home. It definitely hits home. And so thank you, AthleteLogos, for making that artwork. Hope to get the Neon Guy on the show soon. And I'm going to link up an article done in Curbed on Dan Abrams and AthleteLogos. And you can follow him on Twitter at AthleteLogos. And that's the other part of this, the name AthleteLogos. I mean, it just shows that even people with disabilities can be seen as athletes. And that's kind of what I've been trying to establish, is that yes, I may have crutches, yes, I may have one leg, but I'm still an athlete. And I love that part. And I love when I get to play baseball or hockey or football and whatnot. Just love it. So, thank you, Neon Guy, the Neon Guy, Dan Abrams. Thank you, AthleteLogos, for making that moment even more special. And I hope to do more with that silhouette of throwing out the first pitch at Shea Stadium. So stay tuned for that one. Tomorrow, I've got to get to a city council idea that is just driving me crazy. And it ties in with this whole Cranes business thing. I haven't talked about that yet. I'm going to. Because my oh my, what city council wants to do with your parking tickets. If you make a certain amount, hey, we want to fine you that amount, not the actual parking fine. What? Why are we going to increase the fine amount based on income? That's a discussion for tomorrow, and I hope to dive into it more with you on the Alex Garrett Podcast Network. But until then, enjoy this silhouette on the cover of this episode of the Alex Garrett Podcast Network Sports Spotlight.